Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of GNN. Today is February 23rd, 2023, and we have a major update for Gundam Battle Operation 2. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details of this new update, new banner suit, and of course, your typical unit adjustments, let's go over some of the news. Alright folks, coming in with version 165, we have a new map being added to the rotation in the form of the colony drop area. Now if you're not getting any 0083 vibes off of this, I'm sorry, but you need to go watch it. Based on B-roll footage rolling here, this is a very close quarters map with some verticality and lots of choke points and a lot of cover, so I know some people that are going to have some reservations about maps like this because it's very similar to the likes of GBO2, at least in the sense that there's a lot of close quarters combat here, a lot of funnel points, and even something like how Arctic is, you know people are going to be doing some weird stuff on this, and there's going to be a lot of confusion, so don't worry, I can't wait to play this and probably feel your pain in the upcoming week or so whenever I decide to play this. But it's pretty cool that it's here. New map. Now, only I can wish for is a actual dedicated colony map, like Side 7. Please, BB Studios, make this happen. Now, there are some suits that got some new skills added to them. Of course, they made it a point to make the Moon Gundam at the forefront of that, because it's now getting the Psycho Plate Resonance, which activates at 50% or below HP, boosting agility, attack power, and slightly improving melee ability. Now, to allow the suit not to be affected by the effect, that's a tongue twister, of deactivating Psychomu weapon, basically Psycho Jack, of other players while the skill is activating. Nullifies all reactions except for knockback due to cumulative damage only at the point of activation. Very much NTD and all the other Psycho Frame based reactions. That's pretty cool. On top of that, we do have some other parameter adjustments as well, which we'll go into a little bit. So in the late February dev blog that recently came out, there's a situation that called for missions to promoting to lieutenant required several conditions of player skill, as they mentioned, such as rating B- or above to make sure all lieutenants are having a skill of rating B- or above. Apparently they confirmed this case by receiving reports and obtaining various data which directed it to a fact of some lieutenants are actually performing better than the usual D- rank, meaning they're, you know, for lack of a better term, Smurf accounts. So their solution to this is that they sent a minimum rating for ranks that are higher than lieutenant. So as you see in the illustration here, as of 165, if you're a lieutenant, you're not going to be dropping below C+ or 1600 or C- in space. This is probably a major significant thing because you do see that in clan matches from time to time. You don't really see it too often, but this is their solution to that, I guess. I don't have any other opinions beyond that, but pretty crazy that it's a thing. So because of that, pilots will be forced to sortie a map, ground, or space to have a rating lower than minimum. After the rating matches, pilots will be able to settle their designated rating and be able to join all kinds of game modes. And this is also now distribute 300,000 BP to all pilots as a compensation and appreciation for this change. On top of that, our lovely banner suit that was announced during the dev blog earlier this week, the 600 cost S Gundam 3-star, which we'll get into details shortly. There is a supply step up for the banner as well, in addition to a limited supply drop notice for the Jazar Team B variant, as well as some changes for the premium login bonus. Now, additions to the recycled counter ticket exchange, we are getting the Nobides level 1, level 2, as well as the Gaz L Grau level 1, level 2 for the ticket counter. My favorite and very reliable Hazel Custom level 1, level 2 is also being added in addition to the level 2 version of the mass production QBLA. So any of these suits I can definitely vouch for, I've seen people do really well with. So if you want to round out your hanger collection and try some new suits and been saving up, definitely consider these new additions here. Changes to the DP exchange counter, we are now getting the level 2 of the full armor Yakushiki Kai. Very solid mid-range support. It is pretty decently good. I know some people that can swear by it. We're also getting the level 4 version of the GBO2. Could be pretty cool if you have nothing else. Can't say if it's reliable or not, but might be fun for, you know, among friends and so forth. So with the unit adjustments, they're leading off with the Power GM. It's getting a melee boost, as well as subsequent levels versions of that are getting boosted as well. The base thrusters for, I'm guessing, the level 1 is going from 65 to 70, with the ground speed going from 125 to 130. They're also getting enhanced tackle adjustments and adjustments to their flight control program, in addition to, I believe, if you're looking at level 4, level 5, thruster output reaction booster programs, they're getting additional buffs to that, as it's supposed to be, as they say, excel in guerrilla combat due to high speed. Although the level 2 and upper levels of the unit has been strengthened to improve the status before, the various battle results tended to decline again. And all I can mention in that sense is that if you look at the kit for the Power GM, typically for something of this stature, all you're using predominantly is your primary stun. You have Vulcans, which are okay. Your melee is pretty decently good, but while you're waiting for your stun to kind of reload, cool down so you can use it again, the Vulcans, I would say, might need a buff. So we'll see how this goes, but according to the data that's being presented to us, to the devs, it's performing below expected parameters. So, as I said, considering the stats, they're hoping that this will help it out. We'll see. Let me know. Jumping down the list, we have the Narrative Gundam B-Pax version. It's getting a buff as well. It's getting a unit HP increase, as well as a level up on its back add-on and special arms equipment buffers. So they're both going up a level. They're getting a improvement on the melee weapon as far as increased bottom melee attack compensation. Basically, I'm assuming this is in regards to suits that have been downswung and trying to follow up. It has that weird hitbox that you have to aim for very carefully. It's a thing that a lot of old suits tend to suffer with, thrusting wise. For example, not the Sananji, but the Ribao, you have to hit it in a certain way. Same goes for the Dominance as well. There's a certain hitbox that you have to connect with to get it to connect and follow up, you know, in a proper way. And so they've adjusted that. We'll see. I haven't had to take this out since Banner Night for the narrative and the major update that came along with it. So, you know, this might be something that I might revisit with the ecosystem that is 650. They're also adjusting the lock-on firing range of the pincer units for the incoms that it has. They're also adjusting the increased flight and return speed of the jammer unit. So yeah, we'll see very much. I know it's very squishy in a certain sense, but at the same time, if used properly, the narrative is pretty powerful. It's got a very strong melee. Gabathli is getting a buff as well. His resist boost is getting up to 25 for the base unit. High speed's going up to 210. Turning is going up to 66, so it's a little bit better. It's also getting maneuver armor 1. So this is, I think, a 600 native, if I'm correct. Yeah, 600 right there. I just trying to see if I can remember right off from memory there, but also getting flight control 2 to 3 now. You're getting a increase in melee power, and your Vulcans are getting increased too. Faster velocity and stun accumulation, so we'll see what happens with that. Jumping into its transformed version, resist boost is also getting adjusted, just like its mobile suit version. It's also getting the transform reinforcement level 1. The fading during transform mode is getting a buff in terms of output power at level 3. Also, you're getting increased power of focused shots. The mega particle cannons in transform for level 3 is also getting an improvement. Jumping down here, the O has now gotten a buff. It's getting a 1500 HP boost, including damage control level 1. Its leg buffer is now level 2, with pretty much all its buffers are getting up to 1. Big thing also on top of that is the level 2 version has increased speed and thruster increases. Level 2 is also getting an updated version of damage control, plus subsequent buffers being increased as well as changes to the force injector version. Now its main melee weapon is getting buffed in terms of output power, as well as the sub melee for the level 2 version. And of course, as we look here, basically devs are basically explaining that it's performing under expected parameters because it's supposed to be a very close range mobile suit. So we'll see. I know people still run it, although this is pre-buff. It'll be interesting to fight again, that's for sure, because of the damage control and fact that it's so tanky. But because it's so tanky, it's also large too. It's kind of the same issue that some of the more hover suits tend to have. But yeah, it'll be interesting to fight that on the field again at 650, 700. I don't know if it'll stand up at 700, but I don't know. We'll see. There's some talented people out there in the field of GBO2. Jumping down to the Silver Bullet, and the level 2 version, the 700 cost is getting a buff. So the range attack boost is jumping up to 30. Same with the melee boost is now 55. It's also getting improvement in its mobility side. Main movement speed's 140. Thrusters are getting bumped up to 80. So, hell, if you wanted to, easily probably boost that level 2 to almost like 100 if you wanted to, just for giggles. You're also getting a reaction booster program level 2 and force injector level 3 now. The beam saber is also getting an increase in melee power, as well as the wired hand saber is getting increased. So it's literally doing the same damage as your main hand, which is pretty normal. But yeah, subsequently going into 700 because of the current situation with Unicorn and Phoenix and all the other high-profile suits in there, it's performing, as they mentioned, below standard. So we'll see how that plays out. Jumping into Moon, like we mentioned earlier, we got the Psycho Plate Resonance level 1, but we're also getting additions to its buffs as far as your Vulcans now are at 225, and the stagger accumulation is also enhanced, in addition to the Psycho Plates getting the same treatment. The MG High Performance Counter Program is now changed below 30% to now 50%. Okay. The GM Sniper 3 mid-range support unit has also gotten a buff. Main rifle has now gone up by 100. Reload time has been shortened, and it does more power in focused mode. Or focused shot, sorry. Reload time for the cannon has also been reduced to 10 seconds, so this is gonna be a pretty nasty suit. I still think it's a high risk, high reward suit. Very squishy, but in the right hands, you might be able to do really well with it. I know some people are complaining about the damage capability, and apparently there's comments in here that are mentioning that various weapons were out of ammunition. I think mostly because the way it's designed, and a lot of people were saying that just run reloaders instead. So I don't know, we'll see. It's a fun suit, as I mentioned before. It's a very high risk, high reward with how squishy it is and how the skills and resistances are set up for this. But for what you get, it's interesting. Now the Shazar Type B Desta is getting a buff as well, and definitely need it. It's getting faster unit speed and better thruster capacity. The left shoulder buffer is now increased to level 3. The heat rate for its Mega Beam Launcher is now reduced by 5%. And overheat time is now shortened to 20 seconds. And the reduced heat rate during rapid sniping is activated. So, I don't know. These might be the buffs that we're looking for. Hopefully anybody that is really talented that can take a look at the Shazar Type Team B version and really see and make it shine and make it sing, because man, it definitely does require a certain perspective with that suit to really do well. The GM3 powered full armored is also getting a buff as well. Its level 2 version, which is the 550, is getting increases to its resistance, both ballistic and beam, 29 and 34 respectively. We're getting a boost in melee resist, as well as the leg buffers for it is going to level 2. Chest missile launcher is getting an increased stagger accumulation value, where it's being enhanced. The range or effective range for the waist-mounted grenades are now at 300 meters, and they've adjusted the switching time between both weapons, or between the weapons specifically. Stagger accumulation has been enhanced for the grenade launcher as well. On to our main event, we have the 600 cost 3-star Superior Gundam, or S Gundam, from Gundam Sentinel. It's a, as they mentioned in the dev blog, a 600 cost assault raid unit with a heavy attack, a whole bunch of weapons. It has its little smart beam gun, which ironically, they've also released a rapid fire version of it. So it's the EXS variant of the gun, what I'm told and explained. But it is a 2-star gotcha portion. So if you don't get it right off the bat, I won't say that you should feel bad not getting it, but it does make it for more aggressive gameplay for that weapon, just because I believe it is heat based as well, and you can charge it for your dedicated stuns, or you can go in and go for the stun accumulation. So different way to play it. Seems pretty cool with the new additions. On top of that, if you are doing the 10 pulls for the normal suit, you do get the Ryu Roots normal suit variant of the AUG uniform, or well, technically they're part of Team Task Force Alpha, but basically it's labeled as the AUG normal suit 06, and you get the 02 helmet, which is basically Camille's helmet. So good way to mix and match if you don't have them. On top of our main event, we are getting a limited step up for the S Gundam. So as with most folks that are considering those precious tokens, this is one of the few times that you get a half off. So this one's okay to go for. I actually got mine off of the half off, so if you got tokens to spare and you want to conserve it, and this is something that you might want to get, I definitely do recommend the half offs. Those are always pretty valuable versus going all in, but don't have to take my word for it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, into the nitty gritty that is the S Gundam. Jumping into the stats, it comes with 19.5k HP with about 20s, mid-20s or so in beam, 28 in melee, and 18 for your ballistic. 40% melee strength with 20 in range, 140 in normal speed and a top speed of 225 for high speed movement. Thruster gauge sitting at 70 and a turning speed of 72. Now, before we get into certain things, I do not have the lovely gotcha rapid beam smart gun, so we are only going over the normal one, which comes in at a whopping 2000 base power, the heat rate of 85 and 315 effective meters. 5 seconds to charge and 15-second overheat. This thing's pretty decent. I wouldn't call it super crazy or anything, but considering what we have to offer with this suit, it's I think the heat is appropriate. It's going to be something that's going to be more attuned for melee, as going into its main beam saber, 2.5 second cooldown for 2500 base power swings. Pretty nasty right off the bat. Jumping into your Vulcans, these are ×4, although it might be 100 power per shot, alternating between 4 nozzles, basically 60 rounds in the mag, 150 effective meters at 10-second reload time, and a rate of fire of basically GBO2A and Mark II level of shenanigans. This thing's gonna be nuts already. I've seen some things. You have the classic beam cannons that the EXS and the S tend to throw out there. This is commit stance weaponry at base of 1400, so basically 2800 at 85 heat at effective 400 meters of a 20-second overheat stature here. Die cannons being also commit stance, just like the steak sauce. 550 heat, 550 base, sorry, 50% heat at an effective 315 meters and 15 second, not minute, overheat. God, 15 minutes would be nasty. You also got its classic head incomp. They didn't add that in here, it would be crazy and wouldn't be the S Gundam without it. 500 base power, 50% heat rate at effective 250, and 20-second overheat. Not sure if that's supposed to be low, but if anything, it probably aids in the stun buildup. Jumping to the cream la crop, the icing, the finisher, the dual sabers that you're able to utilize. This thing's already going to be nasty with 2 melees, but 2750 at a base of ×2, 2-second cooldown swings, and a 2-second charge time for its heavy attack that comes out ridiculously fast. You know, I want to say certain things, but it is that damn fast. Jumping into your big shopping list of skills, which this is a 600 suit, right? 600 cost suit is good lord. Pretty much a lot of things that you would expect from a raid. Level 2 maneuver armor, assault booster, damage control level 1 right off the bat because it is a big boy. Not a thick boy, it's a big boy. Force injector 2, heavy attack 1, and melee combo controller. So no 3 swings there, but with 2 melees, I don't think you're really gonna care that much. Has the aerial melee system, very similar to, I would say, basically this between the flat booster. You're basically looking at a lower cost Jazar Team A Jesta with Flight Control 3 in the mix of it, I guess to make up for the fact that you can't transform. So it's getting the same AWU treatment, but with the shenanigans of a 650 cost suit. This thing's gonna be pretty nasty if you let it off the hook, because looking at the stats, it's fairly squishy, but man, turn your back on it, it's just gonna go to town. And you get Alice at 50%, which aids in the mobility of the suit on top of that. So yeah, EXS has its own way of doing things. Well, you know, people are going to be going nuts with this already right off the bat. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, that'll be it for tonight's banner news and major update of 165. If you guys enjoyed this video and found it informative, please do not hesitate to hit that like and subscribe button, and make sure your bell notifications are enabled, because it definitely helps out the channel and helps you keep informed of the various changes that happen with GBO2. So until next time, guys, I will see you all on the next video.